Intended oversight. Here was Bill Belichick addressing the matter yesterday.
Well, evidently, this is our production people on the TV show that were there. We have absolutely nothing to do with anything that they produce, direct, or shoot or anything. I've never even seen any of their tapes or anything else. So this is something that we 100% have zero involvement with. I don't have anything to do with TV productions or anything else. I have enough other stuff to do. And so what did or didn't happen, what they were involved or weren't involved with, and so forth, I have no idea.
Well, let's try to start filling in some of these blanks. The Patriots released a statement after that saying, "We understand and acknowledge that our video crew, which included independent contractors who shot the video, unknowingly violated a league policy by filming the field and sideline from the press box. When questioned, the crew immediately turned over all footage to the league and cooperated fully. The production crew is independent of our football operation. We accept full responsibility for the actions of our production crew at the Browns-Bengals game." Again, I'll repeat, the Patriots play the Bengals this weekend. Dan Graziano, NFL insider, has been working this story for us from the moment that it broke. Let's start trying to fill in some of the holes for the fans who are trying to make up their minds what to think about all of this, Dan. Where do we begin?
Well, I think you begin with the idea that the Patriots do not they want to make sure that the people don't think they were doing anything nefarious here. The history is what the history is. 12 years ago, they were punished for videotaping the Jets sideline, and because of that history, I think people jump to conclusions. And maybe they should, but at this point, the Patriots are saying that they shouldn't, that this was innocent, that they were putting together something for their web series, and that part of the sideline may have inadvertently been filmed. The reason that matters is the league has strict rules about videotaping opponents' sidelines because they don't want teams to be able to go through and say, oh, this is the signal they use for this particular play. This is the mechanism they use for communicating these kinds of plays to and from, so they can use the videotape and figure out ways to divine what the other team is doing, what they might be calling. So I think it's important for people to understand that. If the league finds that that's what's on the tape, then they could come down hard on the Patriots. But if the league finds that the Patriots are telling the truth and saying, look, we were trying to do a feature on our advanced scout, some stuff got shot in the background, we weren't going to use it for anything, then I think whatever punishment happens might be minimal. But I would think the league probably has to do something because it would need to make a point about video technology and how they do and don't want it used.
So to be clear, what is actually on the tape will play a huge role in all of this, and let's make sure this is clear for the audience. The NFL has all the pertinent tape that they might want to. Whatever it is that was shot, the NFL has it?
That's my understanding, and the Patriots said that in their statement, that they turned it all out. What happened is the Bengals saw somebody in Patriots gear with a video camera and shooting toward the field, and they called NFL security over. There's an NFL security rep at every game. They called NFL security over and said, you need to get this tape, this footage, and the Patriots turned that all over, and now the league has copies of what they need. Yes.
And so what do we best know about the possibility of a timetable here? What happens next, and how quickly do you expect it to happen?
Well, it doesn't. Based on what we know, it seems like the league would have all it needs to look and figure out what needs to be done here. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened in the next couple of days. Whether it is the league coming out and saying no harm, no foul, this is a big nothing, move on, or whether it's a league coming out and saying, hey, we don't think they were trying to do anything, but they still did something that's against the rules, so here's a fine. For example, as a possible punishment for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a result. I don't think the NFL wants this hanging over any part of the remaining season or even this Sunday's Patriots-Bengals game in Cincinnati.
All right, Dan, as you continue to find more, obviously, we'll stay close to you. Thank you very much for that. And quickly, let me just bring it here. Dan, the conversation we had at our meeting this morning was about the phrase confirmation bias.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with this situation, no matter what the league says, if you were part of the group that has for a while believed the Patriots were cheaters and whatnot, this only gives you more fuel to your fire. And then there's a group who doesn't buy into it, who doesn't think there's anything to it, and you're going to overlook this as well. I don't think anything that the league will come up with will change. There's two groups. You either believe that their history, or you overlooked it in the past and don't really care about it, and I don't think this is going to sway that.
All right, this doesn't seem the time to speculate on any of this. As Dan just told you, the league will do its investigation. What's on the tape will be what's on the tape, and that will determine where it goes from here. We'll talk much more about it as we get that. In the meantime, let's talk about this Saturday.
Yeah, college football is where we go now. The Heisman finalists announced on Monday, and as expected, Joe Burrow among them. The Bayou Bengal looking to join Billy Cannon as the only Heisman winner in school history. You saw those guys up on our screen, and we move ahead to Ohio State. And Justin Fields, he's looking to become the 8th winner in Buckeyes history, which would move them past Oklahoma and Notre Dame, and that would be for most all time. Now, this is interesting. His teammate, Chase Young, also one of the Heisman finalists. He became the 4th defensive lineman ever to be invited to New York. It's going to be interesting to see how these two interact with each other being there. And, of course, this one special to a lot of people who followed his career. Jalen Hurts continued a recent trend, as Oklahoma has now had a quarterback as a Heisman finalist in 4 straight years. That's the first time that's happened for any school. Now, all 4 of the finalists put up ridiculous stat lines this season, led by Burrow. He's on pace to break the single-season completion percentage record, already has the most passing yards and touchdowns in a season in SEC history. And Justin Fields, meanwhile, has thrown 40 touchdowns and just 1 interception, on pace to be the best ratio in FBS history. Now, Trevor Lawrence is not there, but our Dan Orlovsky is a big fan either way.
There's no quarterback in college football playing better than the kid at Clemson, Trevor Lawrence. That is.
I don't agree with that, but go on. I'll let you keep talking.
I love it.
Whoa.
Burrow's okay.
Can't run from it.
He's running.
There's no running back
away.
playing better in college football.
He's done.
And there's one defense. There's one defense in the country.
Oh, gee, did he really just say that?
Come on. Sit down.
Let me bring Marcus back.
I'd like to stay.
Yeah, so Paul Feinbaum joining us now, and your reaction there to what Dan said, kind of similar to what Marcus did yesterday. Here's the thing. I think we know that Burrow's a runaway, but Greeny, what do you want to ask Paul?
What was that reaction?
Well, listen, I mean, I'm always amazed when Dan makes these mild statements. I remember last year, Tua was LeBron James. Now it's, who is Trevor Lawrence? Is he the Kobe of this generation?
I haven't pegged him yet.
If you're asking me to say something nice about Trevor Lawrence, I'm contractually obligated not to say anything good about Clemson. But listen, it's a fair conversation. I just didn't see Trevor Lawrence play anyone this year where I could make a value judgment. The last time I saw him in a competitive game was against the University of North Carolina, and prior to that it was Alabama. So Dan, you're welcome to your opinions. You're obviously here a lot more than I am.
Doesn't it get a little bit stale that we only go, well, he hasn't played the guys that other people have? Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that Clemson has not
he's been playing junior college teams all season.
I think that's a little extreme.
Okay.
But everyone knows that he hasn't played the schedule
but that's okay.
as Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow is I was the one 5 weeks ago, he said, runaway Heisman, give it to him, and he'll be the #1 pick. Before you were saying it, Paul. And so I think to take the shot at Trevor Lawrence and go like, I just haven't seen him play anybody. He dismantled Notre Dame and Alabama last year in the playoff. I mean, beat him by 27, beat him by 28.
Last year.
He's never lost.
He hasn't broken
He's
a
having
sweat.
a better season.
He hasn't broken a sweat in 4 months.
He's having a better year this year than he had last year.
Desmond, 1 game to win. Who are you taking?
Let me be the voice of reason.
Please.
Let me be the voice of reason. Coming into
away.
this season, the Heisman Trophy was Trevor Lawrence's to lose.
Correct.
Everyone loved Trevor Lawrence after he dismantled Alabama's defense. That should tell you how his season has gone so far this year. He's not even a finalist. So to say he's playing better than any quarterback, I think is just a little far stretch. He is having a fantastic season. There's no doubt about that. The competition is the reason why that's why the committee put them at 3, okay?
Of course. 1
game to go, though, Laura, to answer your question. I will have to go with Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow right now is more battle-tested this season.
I always liked you.
Oh, my God. Anyway, and I think that Joe Burrow has a level of maturity, too, that when you see him play, he understands not only how to throw accurate balls, but he throws his guys open. He showed a lot of athleticism. He showed how tough he is. He takes some shots in the SEC. I mean, he takes some big shots, but he bounces right back up. And then that one play late in the game against Georgia where he had to avoid like 3 defenders, rolled to his right, and threw the ball clear across the field to Justin Jefferson to set up another touchdown. To me, that was such a huge moment. Trevor hasn't had to do that this season. Not saying that he can't, but he doesn't have a highlight like that. I love what Joe Burrow brings to the table.
Again, both things can be true, right? But if I had 1 game, I'm taking the guy who I've never seen lose. I've never seen Trevor Lawrence lose a football game. I've seen you a couple weeks ago, Paul, you said that you think that the Alabama dynasty is over. Well, he might be the guy who ended it. And then I said this yesterday.
Listen, I don't mean to be a lawyer here, but I think I said the window is closing. But why let facts get in the way of
this is
conversation on Get Up?
This is why. I mean, I think that Trevor Lawrence makes throws. He can make throws that other guys can't. I mean, these are window throws that you have to have a unique arm strength, unique vision to make those throws.
Break the tie, Greeny, please.
No, you break the tie. Your name's on the screen, not mine.
I'm with Desmond. Joe Burrow is football. Come on.
It's football.
Joey football.
In what can only be described as an upset, Paul picked the guy from the SEC.
Oh,
All right,
I knew that
as we
was
continue on Get Up this morning, Dan Orlovsky says last night was the most important win of Carson Wentz's career. We'll tell you why the Eagles will need even more from their quarterback down the stretch. And then Baker Mayfield has struggled in his second season. If Freddie Kitchens isn't the coach next year, who do they need to try to rebuild this quarterback? Answers